Babs, how are you? We like to start off these interviews, these conversations with a consistent question, sort of the gets us to the mission statement of the show. But we like to ask all of our guests, when was the last time you felt worried about being able to cover your monthly expenses?
Oh, well, it's been a minute because I took a full-time job about like a few years ago. So I work full-time and I have a freelance gig and I do my multiple comedy gigs on top of that. So I have been able to cover my expenses for the last few years. Um, Before that, I'd say it's been a while. I've been definitely able to keep it going for quite a bit. So it's probably been like 10 years, I think.
Wow. Congratulations.
That might be
That's
the longest
amazing.
we've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'd have to really go back. I have a terrible memory also, but I mean I've been, I've always had some kind of day job. Right now is my full-time one. I haven't had a full-time one until the last few years because that felt like necessary. But I've always, always
What
been
is your full-time
supplementing.
job?
I don't fully want to get into it. I just do
Okay.
social media and stuff like that for a nonprofit.
I have a question about that because it's something that I think about a fair amount, which is, I got a book deal in advance and wound up not writing the book. And I've gotten feedback from other people that having a full-time job does sometimes get you the structure that you need and the safety that you might need to pursue stuff that's more risky or feels more vulnerable even. Has that been your experience?
No, I feel like I'm drowning. I feel
Okay.
like I am not.
All right.
But you know what? It goes back and forth, right? Like I'm right. It's the busiest time of year for my job right now. The last few months, so I felt so disconnected from my art and from being creative and from stand up. So I've really been struggling lately with just feeling like, what am I doing? All I'm doing is trying to make money. I'm not outputting anything I feel good about. So luckily, right now, I'm like just past. Like I wouldn't have even done this podcast because I was so busy.
Mm.
And like I just got past that point, and now I'm feeling the relief of like, okay, I actually have time to be doing stand up and doing all these other things. So it does give me structure in a way that like I do think when my days are, you know, just when I have nothing on my plate, it can be even worse sometimes for sure. When you're like, oh, I have so much time and I just don't end up doing that much. So it is that balance, right? Like I'm finding now that it's good because I'm like, okay, I'm working it into the stuff I'm already doing. But it just depends, I guess, ebbs and flows. But lately it's been very tough for sure. I haven't not felt that freedom to do anything.
When you got the full time gig, was it a challenging transition at the time? Like, did you feel like it was going to make the creativity suffer to some degree to sort of make that transition?
I think I wasn't thinking about it too much because like I'd already been working at the place part time and
Okay.
it was just kind of like it just made sense sort of for what I was doing. It was like I might as well just be full time because I'm like having to nitpick these hours and stuff like that. So I don't think I thought of it at the time, but I think since I've been doing it for a while, it is starting to, I am starting to get freaked out. Like, fuck, like what am I doing? I'm here to make this dream happen, and I feel like sometimes I feel further away from that than ever, in the
Mm.
last few years. So it's been a struggle to like try and feel like I'm still pursuing it in the way that I want to.
I wonder if you can talk about the ways that having that full-time job where your creativity is in the service of someone else, right? I assume that one of the
Mhm.
reasons they hired you is that like, oh, we need a creative person to do this.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
And
I took a course or so I took something about just being creative and trying to like not be as hard on yourself, as a creative and they said like I want you to think about today like all the ways that you were a creative person.
Mm.
mm,
And it did help when I did it that way because I was like, oh, that's true. Like I was creative in so many ways that weren't necessarily maybe the thing I thought of first when I'm thinking like I'm trying to be a writer or a comedian, but I am creative, yeah, every single day pretty much with what I do. So it does help to view it that way for sure.
So where does the disconnect come in? Because I feel you. I mean, I think I understand, but I want to hear more about how, like, yes, like we're creative in the service of someone else. That's still creativity. Totally. You're using parts of your brain that you get to access all the time. But is it just a bandwidth issue in terms of like you expend energy doing the corporate work, or if it's not corporate, whatever, this other job, and then you don't feel like you have time for the stuff you really love? Or is there just a feeling of like being leashed? You said you felt like you're drowning.
Yeah, I think it's a bandwidth thing for sure because I feel like I think a lot of us identify with like feeling more insecure than ever. And even though I am, I mean, I want to say secure financially, I'm still like, it's still a month to month thing. But even though I am secure that way, I feel this like more scared than ever of like losing that income, or, you know what I mean? Just not having enough to survive. And so I'm still like, again, I'm still have another freelance job where I do social media stuff. Like I could maybe try to drop that job so I have more time to do my stuff, but I'm so scared of the realities of that we're all facing of losing income and stuff like that I don't. So it is a bandwidth issue for sure. Like I don't have enough time to dedicate to my other stuff, and I don't have enough time to just exist. Like my brain is not sitting and like ruminating or trying kind of like coming up with things because I'm stretched pretty thin.
Yeah.
You say you came out here to make the dream happen, which obviously a lot of us have. What was the original dream? Like, what did it look like for you? Like, what goal were you trying to achieve coming out here to LA?
I think I always wanted to make TV. Like that was my number one goal. When I moved out here, I'd never done stand up before, and I wasn't like sure if it was for me or not, and so I took improv classes at UCB right when I got here. That was like the thing to do. And I got a paid internship like with Gary Sanchez immediately, which was insane, so I like threw myself in right away. And then I started stand up like 8 months into living in LA, and I've been out here, God, 18 years now or something like that. So as soon as I started stand up, I was like, oh shit, like this is, for me. And I knew immediately like that was something I wanted to pursue. So I just, kept going down both of those, trying to get a writing job and just doing stand up. And that was it. And it's like, sometimes I find myself still reaching for like an old version of that, like the TV stuff, like, it's just not the same obviously as it once was. But it's hard for me to adjust that sometimes because I still have that feeling of like, I want to be in a writer's room and I want to be coming up with this show with other people and all that stuff. So I still, that's still in there for sure, even though I'm trying to figure out other ways to do it, or just being like, well, just make stuff yourself. I think that's, usually the thing we all come to is like, you just have to do it yourself. But that's still kind of the ultimate goal.
Oh, okay. I'll go. You mentioned writers' rooms and then, do it yourself. And we had Adam Conover on, and one of the things he said that was really interesting was that he has decided to hire writers for his channel, right? Because he, especially as someone identify with this as like an ADHD person, it's so hard to move the levers to create, sometimes to like task initiate, and having other people who are also involved in the same task, like, is not just helpful creatively, but also just moves you past the friction of trying to create. Right. And that's really attractive to me. When I hear like, just do it yourself, like my cognitive load alarm, goes off. So What is that for you? Like you said, you're attracted to the writer's room, but you also said, like I was saying, you also were like, I guess, we do it ourselves. So is there a way that you feel the nostalgia or the preemptive nostalgia for like having a bunch of people working on the same project? What does it feel like to have to kind of be like, all right, well, it's up to me?
Yeah, that it is. I mean, I feel like the appeal of it, right, is kind of that lift together, is because I agree, like it is so much easier when you have some other people to be accountable to, and it's more fun, right, when you are all together making something. I think like I wish that I had more of that. I have friends who make a lot of short films and like are always making stuff like that together, and I don't feel like I'm in that kind of like world. And when I think of making that, it's overwhelming to me. I'm like, how are they always doing this? I just don't really get. I'm like, I don't understand. You guys are always making shit because it seems so expensive, or it seems like this or that. So I wish that I was doing more of that with other people. I mean, I have like writers groups and stuff like that, and that definitely helps. And accountability for me is like, it's like the only way I get anything done, right? Like, and I have a friend, Julia Prescott. I don't know if you guys know her, but
I know that name.
Yeah, she would be great to talk to. Actually, she's like the only reason I've gotten anything written, I think, in probably the past like 5 at least years, because she does a few different things. She does accountability groups. Like she does one right now where I'm in, where you have to turn in like pages every week, and if you don't, you have to like pay money that go to a charity thing. And so that's like I'm trying to finish my first feature this year, and that's the only reason I've gotten it done or close. And then she has this other thing called Trash Draft, where you like do a week, you meet people, it's all on Zoom, but Saturday you all talk about your pilot ideas, you write 5 pages a day. The next Saturday you read through your like shitty draft. And so that kind of stuff has really helped me like get through the noise of just put it on paper, right? So the accountability of groups is great, but yeah, I haven't been able to. It's hard to find that. I mean, it's cool that Adam like has people write for his channel. It's a good idea, and I'm sure it would help me if I would, because I can't for the life of me make a fucking TikTok like to say my like. It takes me like 10 years to actually finally do it. So I do love that idea of that, and I haven't really thought about that in a concept outside of a writer's room. So that's cool. Yeah.